everyone. Welcome to UNrattled, a podcast for parents. If your kids have ever rattled you and you feel like you're not so perfect parent, then you've come to the right place to feel better. Today on our show, we have Ken Peterson with Chasegr8, and we're talking about blended families and the heart of a dad. We hope you enjoy the show. Also, guess what? We won a nappy for Best Local Podcast in Mobile, and we just wanted to say a thank you to everyone who voted. Now, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of UNrattled, a podcast for parents, a place where if you don't feel like the perfect parent, great, because we don't either, and you can come hang out with us. Today, we are with a good friend of mine, Ken Peterson. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great.
Ken and I, it's hard calling you Ken because I knew you as Petey back in the day, and even now, that's what I called you through high school, and then we reconnected at church, and so when I would ask people at church, I'm like, oh, Petey, and da-da, and they're like, who are you talking about? And so we were talking about it before, so if I stutter or pause on calling you that, it's because it's completely a me thing. It's in my brain. My brain, it hasn't transitioned yet. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can I call you both?
The rule is if you knew me before I started going by Ken and Kenneth in the government name.
Oh, yeah.
that you can still call me Petey.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's the rule.
All right. I'm glad I knew you before then.
That's it.
Okay. Good deal. All right. So today we're going to kick off. Tell us a time you got rattled by your kids. Show us you're on the same page with all us other parents.
Oh, man. I actually got a great one that just came to me.
Okay.
My oldest son, I think he was probably had to be between 8 and 10. And he was supposed to take out the trash. We lived in an apartment complex at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so he's supposed to go take out the trash. You have to walk it up there to the bin. So he might have been older than 8. But he walked the trash up there.
Right.
Supposedly.
Was he scared to even go outside and do this, or was he just like, I got this, not a problem?
Oh no, it was a regular chore.
Okay, good deal.
You got the big dumpster or whatever, and he's a kid. He's he thinks he's tough. He throws it in, comes back.
Right.
Maybe ride his bike. Apartment complex kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The cool one. The cool one.
Yeah.
So we get a knock at the door while he's supposed to be taking out the trash, and and they say, your kid just threw the trash in the woods over there. They're like, your kid just threw the trash in the woods over there. And we're like,
excuse me?
No, not my kid.
No, my kid knows where to throw the trash.
Not my kid. And so I guess about 5-10 minutes go by. I mean, he's
still gone.
He really plays it. Oh, he really plays it.
Oh, because the trash can was, the dumpster was further.
Yeah, it's further at the front of the apartment complex.
He plotted this out.
And he must have been over. He probably was about 10 or 11 at that point.
Right.
Now that I think about it. But he comes back, and you just think this is a perfect opportunity. I've already went out there and saw the trash behind the apartment complex, right? And I know it's my trash.
Did it rip open or did it stay in the...
It was open. He just threw it over here, right? And so he comes in and, buddy, did you take out the trash? Yeah, I took out the trash. You take it to the dumpster? Yeah. Now I'm going to give you the chance to tell me the truth.
He doubled down on this.
Oh, double down. He doubled down, And so then we go out there and just put it like this. He was on punishment for a while.
When you told him, what did he say? Did you just...
Oh, he denied it.
Did you have to walk him out there and be like...
Yes.
Exhibit A.
Yes.
Basically. I would lie if I said I never did that as a kid.
Hey.
I need you to go do this. And it's like, okay. And you just halfway do it. And then the parents already know that. And then my dad would lose his mind.
Oh, man. I mean, that's one of those situations where you just go on punishment, right? Like when they've told you that many stories at that point in time, you're like,
all right, now, you're not in trouble for dumping. You're not as in trouble for dumping the trash, because I get it. We all tired and we cut corners sometimes. However, the fact that you doubled down on this lie, did you make it? You made him go clean it up, obviously.
Yes.
And
some of the other people's trash that was in the woods.
Here's another question. How long had he been doing this?
That's the point. We will never know.
You're never know. We're never going to find out.
No, period.
How long he did this. I have a little one that will double down on a lie in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And she may or may not be in the studio with us today. So I'm not gonna tell any stories because she is literally right there. But she will double down, and I have to look at her and I go, all right, you're not gonna be in trouble. Just tell me, did this happen? No. Or yes, it did happen. All right, well now you're in trouble for lying. Now I got you on lying now.
Yeah.
Lying charges now, you're done. And so some of those kids, man, they're just sneaky.
Oh man.
Has he kept doing that, or is he kind of
I mean,
is it
now that I think about it, that wasn't even the worst one. I mean, it gets worse. He came home from school one time and he said he got beat up. And he's telling us he got beat up, and we believed him.
Yeah.
I called the principal's office.
You made phone calls.
I called the principal. And the principal investigated it and everything, and it turns out that he was the bully. And he was just like, Mr. Peterson,
He was playing
please,
victim.
Mr. Peterson, please, be easy on him. Please be easy on him.
Nope.
Back on punishment.
What did you ever? So sometimes when things happen and it's over, I'll go back to my kids and I'm like, "Hey, let's recap this real quick. What happened?" And they're a little more open to be like honest and stuff. Did you ever did you ever go back and kind of like get an overview on this with them? Like, "Hey, what were you thinking?"
I think that's when it changed. I think that moment, the fight at school moment.
Yeah.
I think that's when it changed.
Did he multiple fights, or was this like the first one?
It was just like, it wasn't even
It's
a real
an
fight.
incident.
It was, they're at the water fountain. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe you push a kid or something like that, and you come home.
Right, nothing serious.
But you come home tough guy, You done got in a fight. And, I think once he realized like, this crazy dude, me, actually called the principal to see what's
you were
going
gonna
on.
Be like, oh, I'm so sorry you're getting bullied at school. Like,
have no idea what he thought. But
yeah, like don't bring it up.
After that, it was like, he started to realize at that point, I think, hey, what I say matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you start bringing in the principal in the school, and it's like, okay, I think
we all had those moments as a kid when we were like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, and then you quickly learn. We all at different ages. Some of us younger. Mom was a little slower than most. I'm just going to stop talking.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop talking because things don't ever end well with me. That's hilarious. Well, thank you for sharing that story. It makes me feel a little better because I also have a sneaker that will do things, and it makes me laugh. So today, before we get into it, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your family, other than the fact that your son likes to throw trash into the woods and stress you out sometimes.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I would never have thought that because I see him at church all the time, and he's super nice. Anytime I ever talk to him, he's very polite.
He was nice then. He was nice then. No, he's always been a cool kid, nice kid, everything else. But I say if that's all I got to worry about, we're doing pretty good. So
yeah.
But no, I'm an attorney.
Nice.
I work at Raines Law Firm at Fairhope.
Okay.
So we do family law, criminal law. Some of the stuff I specify in is like juvenile justice, different things like that. We prosecute in a couple different cities, and then I'm a public defender in some of the cities as well.
Nice.
So we stay pretty busy with that.
I would imagine.
I call that being Batman, right? That's
never stops.
Loving. I love it though. I get to help a lot of people.
No, thank you for the work you do. I mean, we need guys like you doing things like this.
Oh yeah.
It's tough work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's good. I mean, I'm blessed to, good 25% of what I do, I get to deal with kids.
Yeah.
And so that's big for me. So I love doing that. I'm a Christian rapper.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you knew that.
I knew a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm a Christian rapper as well. Chasegr8, the rest can wait.
Chasegr8, the rest can
That's
wait.
where it comes from my motto,
I love that.
Chasegr8, be all you can be the best that you can be the best version of yourself, and just continue to try to get better each day. So
that's really where it's at. Just one step better, 1%.
Oh yeah.
Because there's some days I get up and I'm just like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh yeah. Well, you gotta be great at resting too now.
This is true.
You gotta be great at resting, and I'm a great sleeper.
I don't do that. My wife will tell you I don't do rest very well.
Yeah.
Because even on my days off, I'm up. She's like, I'm an early bird, so I normally get up between like 5 or so, 5 and 6. and I'm just doing stuff around the house, whether it be small chores here and there, things that need to be cleaned. I'm just always doing something. And my wife's like, can you just stop? She hates it because she's like, she feels like she has to do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't feel that way. Don't. And then it doesn't really work. So then I have to stop because I don't want her to be that. I don't want her to feel like she has to get up and do things.
Well, I'm the opposite. So I understand where she's coming from. Because I'm like, stop washing those dishes.
Get in here and hang out with me.
Let's just watch TV. But yeah.
Let's just watch TV.
But I mean, I guess you go to that next, you know. I'm a family guy, you know. I have a beautiful wife, and 3 kids. And so that's been the majority of my life right there.
The wife and 3 kids.
The wife and 3 kids. You know, they're awesome. If I was to say something bad about them, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But they rattle me, but they definitely help me be who I am. So
Yeah.
we're a team.
I think that's how it's supposed to be, though. I think,
Yeah.
in all honesty, it's like, yeah, we get rattled, but these are the people in our life that we want to be around, and they rattle us in a good way.
Exactly.
Give us new perspective on things.
Yeah.
All right. So we had planned to talk a lot about, because you do some coaching too, don't you?
Yeah, I left that one out. Yeah, I coach.
So what don't you do? You just doing it. You say you don't like to work, but working with kids.
Oh, man.
You got this whole family. I see you at church serving. I see you doing all these other things. Don't act like you're lazy. You ain't nothing lazy about you.
24 hours in a day.
That's
what I say to it. You know, I mean, I will watch a TV show and just watch all the episodes.
Thing?
Yeah. You know, I'll stop and do that every once in a while.
What's your favorite TV show?
I don't know.
We're watching The Bear right now on
Netflix.
FX.
Look, Netflix is my favorite TV show.
Netflix, the whole thing, the whole shebang.
The whole thing.
You're binge watching Netflix.
That's it.
All right, do Netflix.
I'm a history major. So like all those crazy old shows that I know are being misrepresented, I love to watch them.
What shows are being misrepresented? Which one are you talking about?
You know, the Kings and Queens. And,
those are good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Those are real good.
Yeah, when they add the twist to them, I love it.
Make it better.
Make it better.
All right, so we were going to talk about your coaching and everything that you do, but you started talking about kind of like how you became a dad.
Yeah.
And what that was like for you.
Yeah.
So can you share that story? And like, because I don't know if you know this, but my oldest daughter, we're a blended family. She is my stepdaughter, but I don't call her that. I call her my daughter, and she didn't call me stepdad or whatever. She calls me dad. Now, my bonus son, that's another story. Yeah. He just calls me Austin.
Yeah.
You know, we're still working on him. I love you, Micah, if you're watching this. I love you. He'll never say it back. It's a running gag. He'll give his mom a hug and be like, I love you, Mom. And he'll walk out and I'll be like, I love you. And he's like, what? I can't hear you. I'm leaving. And he'll just walk out of the door. But he always got a smile on his face. So I'm just assuming that means I love you too, is what I'm taking it as. It's what I'm taking it as.
Hey.
But tell us that story about like you becoming a dad and what that was like for you.
Oh yeah. So me and my wife, we basically started dating like middle school, high school.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we broke up in high school. And so we reconnected in college, and she already had a child, and you know he was probably about 13 months old at the time.
Right,
probably about 13 months, and you know I'm probably about 19 or 20 at that time. You know, and you know it's just one of those things. I can tell you the first time that I met him.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I saw him one night. He just jumped up and he hugged me. Like it was incredible. Like it was just like
instant. It was easy.
It was easy. It's always been easy. And I remember the second time I came, and his shirt. That's when the little white little outfit they wear. You know that tucks underneath.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The onesie.
Yeah.
Like the back of it got stuck in the log holder, like where you put the logs at.
Yeah.
And he was like dragging it. Cause I had just came back from school and like that, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like.
But did you understand what that fully meant? Like when you were like, oh, I'm dating somebody with a kid, did you understand what that entailed? Or were you just kind of like, oh yeah, like.
Not at all. Not at all. You know, I look back, you know, it's one of the best things of my life. Mm-hmm. Period, point blank. He's one of the best things of my life.
Yeah.
And so we just had fun with it the whole time. Like, honestly. Like, There wasn't a playbook.
No.
There was no type of playbook. And for me, I've always been a little bit more mature for my age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I remember that in high school.
Yeah. So like, you know, I understood the fact that this is a kid. You know what I'm saying? This is a person.
Right.
This is somebody with a future. I always understood that. And so, you know, at first it started off like, okay, this is my girlfriend's son.
Right.
And then it just continued to evolve, you know, to the point when he was probably about 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4, probably about 3 or 4. At that point, it was like, this is real deal. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
he looks at you a certain way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It wasn't, yeah.
It was more of him wanting for it to be more solidified.
Yeah. Now, was his dad involved? Was his dad in the picture?
Kind of off and on type of situation.
Yeah, which is tough.
Yeah. I mean, they were all young.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
You know, you look back at it and, you know, I still wish that he would have been more involved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I remember starting off just saying, hey, you got 2 dads, right? Like, you know, and going with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So he knew from the get-go.
Yeah, he knew. He knew from the beginning. You know, other people would try to confuse it, but we never have.
Right.
I'm the same as you. When it comes down to it, like, he's my son.
Right.
You know, I don't.
You're gonna go to bat for him.
Period.
Right.
Period. And, you know, trying to work with other people to do that as well. You know, to do what's best for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about it just evolved.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're waiting and you can't force something to happen that's not going to happen. Now you can make strategic steps and maybe it'll evolve a little quicker, you know, if you make the right moves, or, you know, if you're not doing your best, maybe it, you know, kind of digresses a little bit, but that's what it is. You've just got to wait for it to evolve. Like with my bonus son, Micah, our relationship sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, like any other relationship, but it constantly is changing.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes he'll get frustrated with me, you know, because when I came in the picture, he was 13.
Yeah.
And he, you have to make him do something or say something and he's not happy. And he's like, you're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do. And he's only said that maybe once or twice. And I think the thing I've always tried to be like is just like, hey, his dad is in the picture somewhat. And my thing is like, I'm not trying to be your dad. I'm just here to support you.
Yeah.
And like love you and like, dude, whatever I can do to make your life better, that's what I want to do. He probably didn't see it that way. You know, I hope that one day he'll see like that's all I'm trying to do for him. But it was really my dad who showed me that because, you know, I was telling you earlier, my dad, he passed away like 9 years ago. And the thing that broke me more than anything was the fact that my kids would never get to see somebody who was just supportive of them and just loved them and cared for them for no other reason than just being them. You know, even when he passed away from ALS, but when he would literally sit up in his bed, his hospital bed at my mom's house, and they would get on the bed with him and he would just talk to him the best he could. You know, he could barely move in some cases, but he would still just everything he could just to hang out with him.
Yeah.
And when he passed, I thought that's what really hurt, was seeing somebody who passed that would have done anything for him just because didn't want this significant role in their life, or he just wanted to be there for him, to support him. And I was like, ooh, that's what I want to be. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm their dad. I have to guide him and direct him and stuff. But with Micah, it's a little different. I'm just like, man, I just want to be here to support him and love on him the best that I can. And, you know, I've missed the mark sometimes. And sometimes, you know, we've butted heads on a couple topics. But that's what it is. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that, because that's a lot of times I think you force something. You can't force it to be something it's not. Either, you know, and in parenting, it's either they get it and they feel that and you're going to connect, or they're also going to feel if you're disconnected and you're trying to force them to obey you or listen to you or do it your way. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So the fact, you know, I don't know if that was intentional or if it was like, that's how you operate, but I feel like that's it was a great line. I don't know. I don't know if everybody heard it, but I was like, I'm going to point that out because that is great. It just evolved and it's simple.
I mean, I think I was just blessed, man. I was really, really blessed with him. Me and him have always, just like I said, we just linked.
Yeah.
From day one. We've linked since day one, and we're still like that now.
How old is he now?
He's 19.
19.
He's 19 now.
Is he still in the house, or is he gone off?
Well, he's home for the summer.
Okay.
And he's working 2 jobs.
Get him working.
And he's being more like dad, which he doesn't want to be, right? Like,
it freaked me out when I realized how much I was like my dad. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just like my dad. Is he starting to see those tendencies in him?
He is a TV child, right? Like, he's a TV child. So, like, he's the one that I don't want to do law because dad does law, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So now he's working at Logan's right now part-time.
Okay.
Well, I worked at Logan's, right?
Did you not tell him before he went?
He knew. He knew. You know, he
Nice.
knew, and I mean, he's becoming a young man, and it's good to watch. Like I said, you know, it's very, very good to watch, and it's all about being patient with him. You know what I mean? Being patient with him. He doesn't talk as much because, like I said, we kind of talked about it earlier. You know,
Right.
I think he kind of pulled back on talking because he would be saying what he would think that I would want to hear.
Okay.
Right. And now it's cool to see as he gets older. Now it's like, I'm going to say what I want to say at times, but I'm going to pick and choose my battles.
My battles.
Yeah.
But I think that's smart. That's part of being an adult is figuring out like when to say, what not to say. But yeah, I there's a kid in our family that does that too. And she will sometimes say what she thinks, and you're just like, hey, you don't have to say what you like. I know that's not how you feel. Say what you feel.
Well, I'm an attorney, right? So let's just be honest. Like, my whole thing is I don't necessarily think you can say the wrong thing. I feel like you can always come back and correct what you had to say. Like, if you said it wrong, because I noticed that with a lot of people. I actually, what did it for me was watching Nick Saban one time, right?
Okay.
And he was stuttering. I know you're an Alabama fan,
Roll
right?
Tide.
And he was just stuttering, like, in his interview, right? Just stuttering. And I think at that time, him and Belichick were like the big thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching them interview, and they were messing up left and right. They weren't messing up because they were saying what they wanted to say. Like, they would, you know, stuff that we would think about and be like, oh, that person, we all know they can speak well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He's just trying to craft it properly.
Well, he was saying what he needed to say and what he wanted to say.
Mm.
And so what I'm saying is, like, with my kids, me being an attorney, a lot of times I tell people, like, a lot of times it's just getting it out there, what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And not worrying about the perfect way to say it. Okay? Like, don't worry about that as much, especially around people that you love.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
I get
people
that
you love, you gotta give them that cushion. You know what I'm saying? To come back and say, hey, I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, not the cutter when you say, hey, I'm sorry you took it that way. You know, not that one, but just to be like, hey.
That's a jab.
Yeah. So, like, I try to get him to that point, trying to get all of my kids to that point so they can feel more open speaking. You know what I mean?
I love that because I've noticed that with my kids is just like, hey, give them the freedom to have their feelings.
Yeah.
And then have the discussion about it.
Exactly.
I mean, the hard part is getting them to discuss their feelings.
Yeah.
And especially, we had a situation a couple weeks ago where one of my kids, she's going through some stuff and she just blew up. Yeah. Absolutely blew up. And the stuff she was saying was very, very painful for me to hear. And I just didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I'm just acknowledging it. And I don't think I responded the way she wanted because I think she wanted me to be more empathetic. And the way she was doing it was more of like a fight. And I wasn't feeling like she wanted me to be empathetic. So I just didn't respond because I was hurting.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't say anything, which hurt her even more. And so, we had to cool down and calm down. And later I went to her, it was like a couple of days later, we let everything kind of cool down, let it settle. And unfortunately, that was when she transitioned to her mom's house. Yeah. So I kind of left on that note, and it broke my heart. But when she came back, we had a sit-down conversation. And I'm like, first of all, I'm glad you told me all that. And it was just acknowledging to her, I'm like, hey, I'm glad you put that out there because there's some things you said. I've heard you say them before, and we've talked about it. But all these things right here, I had never heard you say before. And I didn't know you felt that way.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, now let's talk about it. Because some of the things she said are valid, and then some of the things... One of the things I always kind of kick out is some of the things she said was valid, but some of them weren't. And it's like the feeling of the boogeyman.
Yeah.
I always tell, like, I think is a great example. When kids are scared of the boogeyman's not real. But that fear, that's a real fear.
Yeah.
So you can't tell them that that's not what they're feeling. So let them have their feelings, but hey, let's talk through that scenario, because the boogeyman, like that whole situation might not be real, because I'm thinking one thing, you're thinking something else, and we just miscommunicated, or you're seeing it in a different way than I am. And so just getting out there, just the fact that they have their feelings, which a lot of times is, I know for me, tough.
Yeah.
As a guy, I don't talk about my feelings very well.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Therapy? No.
You know,
I'm a big proponent of therapy, like going to therapy and stuff.
You know, oh no, I love therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love therapy. No, I was just saying, you know, I've been a talker my whole life, so
talking about learning to talk about your feelings.
Like, it's never really bothered me.
Never bothered you.
Never really bothered me.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. Like I'm, you know, right now, like I mean, you know, I'm sitting here right now, probably in about tears, just thinking about my son. Like I'm so proud of him. So
yeah,
like for
seeing
me,
what he's been through.
Well, just
who he is.
Just who he is. You know what I'm saying?
That.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I hate the segment being just about him, but you know, like
no, it got you talking. Yeah,
I'm just super proud of him. But one of the things I always told him was, you know, and tell my kids, tell my wife as well, you have to put truth to the lies, man. That's one of my favorite statements. Like you, and that's where the discussion comes in, because nobody wants to have the discussion, but you have to be willing to put truth to the lies. Mm-hmm. And like the good thing for us is like I was the dad that was always behind the camera, so you hear me, you don't see me.
Yeah, I get that too.
But I got tape on top of tape. You get what I'm saying? Of your voice. Oh man, of just spending time, or us just doing things, and you know us going through certain situations. And I tell them all the time, like, go back and watch your videos. You know, we've been blessed to have a lot of love in our house. We were broke as sheesh. Like
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh man, I was making $12 an hour when I got out of law school, and family of 5.
That's not right.
Hey, well,
not right, but you it is what it is.
We made it. I mean, you know, I was going to talk about it some as far as, you know, kids staying active, but like I said, my wife was awesome. You know, she stayed at home during that time because you couldn't afford daycare, right? Yeah. So she stayed at home, and, you know, we think about extracurriculars and stuff like that. Man, she kept them active. I mean, you know, library. I remember one of the libraries had a little gym thing for the kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like it was gymnastics for little kids or whatever. And they go in there and do that. And, you know, every park that's a park, we knew it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The trails, we knew it. And it's crazy because I was thinking about being back down here, because that was in Birmingham, but being back down here in Baldwin County, and I'm like, man, we got beaches. We got different walks. We got the bayfront. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got the Mayday. Yeah. It's tons of stuff you can do for free. Yeah. And to stay active, you know? And so that was something, that's what y'all did. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to, but I take them to school playgrounds during the summer. Oh, okay. Because the school playgrounds, they don't ever keep them locked up. Yeah. They're great. They're so much better. And then there's normally like maybe just 1 or 2 kids there. Yeah. You know, I'll take them down to we live in Daphne, so we'll take them down to the Fairhope Park, which is really packed. Yeah. And then sometimes it's just so packed that it's like, you know what else we did one time, speaking of playgrounds, that they absolutely loved, is I'd get them those little headlamps from Walmart. Yeah. And we go to the playground at night. And they would go play around on the playground at night with headlamps. So you dangerous. Well, it's not dangerous. It was just different. It was a different experience. You know, a little dangerous. We like to have some fun. Oh, man. There was a season where it was like, if we didn't break a bone, did we really have fun? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No. Kind of, maybe not. But here's a question. So when you went through all that, like hearing everything you went through, was there ever a time that it was hard for you to be a dad? Because I mean, hearing you talk about your kids, I can sense the love, I can sense the connection. Was it ever hard for you to like do that, or was it just natural for you? Natural. You know, like I said, you know, we talked about it off camera, but losing my dad at such a young age, and watching him go through what he went through, for me, it's not even just like being a dad to my kid, right? Like I believe in being a father figure, regardless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A big part of why I do so much is because there were so many times in my life I had my granddad,
Mm-hmm.
but like he was older, right? And I didn't have that big brother, or I didn't have that father figure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, when I'm coaching or when I'm doing this, that, and the other, I take all that stuff into perspective,
Right.
And then I'm an attorney and I do divorces. So I understand and I see a lot of how they affect the kids too.
Right. Yeah.
And so
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
you have kids on your team and they're going through a divorce, right? I mean, some people say you're just supposed to be there to be coaching. Well, we won't get into the divorce, but yeah, I'm going to give that kid a little bit more love, a little bit more leeway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
Because they need it.
Or if they lose a family member, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. But these kids, like I said, I love kids, man. I love kids. I love community.
Right.
So
I get that.
It's not even just the kids, it's the parents too. And so any way that I can help. But I feel like that's always helped me when it came to being a father. Like I never wanted to quit on being a father. Like I don't think I've had one day like that where I didn't want to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I said, like with my oldest son, as it evolved, it was whatever I can do.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do. And it wasn't ever to overtake a place. You know what I'm saying? But he would never go without.
Yeah, I get that.
He would never go without, Either you're going to have two or you're going to have one, but you're going to always have one.
You're going to have something.
Yeah.
I love that. My dad was the same way. And that's kind of how I felt. It's always been relatively easy for me to step into that and be a dad or want to be a dad and be around my kids. But my dad, he did a good job. My dad did a good job. And so it was, having an example. I can't imagine like coming up not having that as much and maybe seeing a different perspective, than what I saw. I would imagine is probably challenging.
Well, I had a strong mom.
Your mom is very strong.
I'll tell you, my mom was very, very strong.
She kept you straight.
She kept me straight. She had the conversations too. I'll leave here today and probably call my mom.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a tight relationship.
Oh yeah. My mom per se has always been tough on me. Right. My granddad was always tough on me. I remember feeling like, oh man, y'all are way too tough, right? But I feel like that is exactly what kind of gave me the strength and direction that I needed. It's because she's straightforward. That's why I said I don't mind talking about things. Because she's never minded talking about things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Take the taboo, take the weird out of it.
Take it out of it. Let's have a conversation.
Because your kids feel you, man. And if I have a conversation with one of my kids, they can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I'm trying to get the weird out of this conversation as much as possible and just talking about it, and I'm not saying talk about, like, you have to use the right terms, use some common sense on what to tell them, what not to tell them.
Yeah.
But you talk to them like an adult as much as possible,
yeah.
like up to their capability, because, they take it seriously, they understand it, and kids are smart, man. And I think the way that you address it, it seems like that happened with you and your mom.
Oh yeah.
Like she had the hard conversations and you knew right off the bat, this wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
This was something, in those particular topics.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking about.
I've just never had the parent that kind of lies to you and just to boost your ego.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've never had that. You know what I'm saying? I've never had that. And some of that's tough at times, but looking back, I'm glad that she was direct with me.
Yeah.
Because every kid is different. Like I don't think she could have necessarily been like that with all of my siblings, but she was like that with me. Shout out to Mom. I didn't get the height, but I got the conversation, right? Yeah. So
conversational ninja.
Yeah. No,
Didn't get the height.
Yeah. My brother's 6'2", 25, something crazy like that.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was that tall.
Yeah, he's 7 years younger. And I said, Mom, what did you do?
Why did you put a brick on my head?
Well, all of them are tall. Mom's 5'9", 5'10", and she's at the point where she's shrinking now, right? She's getting older, so she's shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was like 5'10", 5'11". So, when everybody in my family turns 13, they're taller than me. That's how it goes.
But do you remind them like, hey, don't step on me because I'll come at you. Like you can still take them though, because you get into that place where you have that old man strength.
I don't know if I can take them. Like, let's just
let's be honest. Let's call a spade right now.
Let's just say what it is. Now, if they want to play basketball, if they want to race, there are certain things that I can still do at a high clip. All right.
Yeah.
But physically maneuvering and
dude, what's so funny is now I went and played softball, like last fall or whatever, and I'll be playing in the infield or whatever, and that ball is hit. And I'm stretched, I've played, a game or so I'm warmed up, ready to go, and a ball is hit, and all of a sudden, it's just your mental reaction because there it is, I got to take this angle to get that ball, growing up playing baseball or whatever, and your body just is like, nope, and now your back's hurt. And you're like, oh, okay, here we go. I swung the bat. And foul tipped it, and I think I messed my knee up. It was hurt for months.
Tear your Achilles and find out.
Oh, did you tear your Achilles?
Just dropping back. I was throwing the football as that quarterback, I'm still in my prime running a 4.4, but I'm over 30. You know what I'm saying? And I dropped back, and that mother said, pop, just like that.
How is that even possible? Well, I'm not going to say how is it possible. I picked up a 20-pound box one time and pulled my back out.
Well, they said it was going to happen. At some point, it was going to happen.
It's just tight? Yeah, them brittle.
I'll tell you a secret. I went to law school. So whatever they tell me as doctors, I just go with it because I didn't take any of those courses. Got to know your strengths and weaknesses.
And you're just like, all right, yeah, I don't know why. It just is what it is.
They fixed it. We good to go.
Well, dude, it was great having you on talking about, I would love to have you back on to talk about being a dad because these are great conversations that I don't think we have enough.
Yeah.
And just talk about being invested in kids, being engaged with our kids. I appreciate you sharing your story. The blended family is always tough to talk about, but I think there's more blended families out there that love hearing about this because it's a struggle, man. Even if, y'all have a great relationship, it's great to look at because, as somebody who's in a blended family, constantly making those steps to love our kids, I think is massively important wherever they're at. So guys, thank y'all so much for joining us today. And remember, if you don't have this figured out, guess what? We don't either. And so you can come hang out with us anytime. So we'll see you guys next time here on UNrattled. Later, guys.
Boom.